You should set your boyfriend on fire. Okay, let me clarify. Don't actually do that, but let's metaphorically do that. Today, I'll go through Ari Aster's cult classic. See what I did there? Cult. Midsommar, and I'll explain why I think that divisive ending is actually kind of a beautiful concept. Again, don't set anyone on fire in real life. My lawyers are informing me I need to state that one more time for safety. Don't set anyone on fire, except Christian. That guy can eat my pubes. Let's get into it. We open with a tapestry that depicts the entire course of this movie. And we'll explore this a little later, but for right now, I just want to mention that some people call this foreshadowing. I agree it's not foreshadowing, but a pointed clue or idea that the events that will happen in this movie involve some form of destiny. There is a thread that runs through life which is leading our characters to this moment, and nothing that they can do is really going to stop it. The events are already in motion. It is inevitable. We are then transported into some wintry darkness where Dany is concerned about her bipolar sister Terry. She's been sending some weird emails, being real vague and scary, and Dany's kind of losing it a little bit because that's a scary thing, okay? Her sister's talking about herself and taking her parents with them. Like, yeah, that's a little bit concerning, I'd say. So she calls her emotionally unavailable, unsupportive, whatever you want to call him, boyfriend Christian. And he's really of no help. In fact, he says that this is just one of her sister's ploys to get attention.
It's still just another obvious ploy for attention.
Which feels very not great. If I was calling my boyfriend to talk about something that I was really concerned about, which was my sister's suicidal tendencies, this would not exactly be the reaction that I'd be hoping for. All she's looking for is comfort in the situation, and he's just not it. He talks to his annoyed friends about how over the relationship he is, and they encourage him to leave her, but he says that he doesn't want to because what if he regrets it?
I get off the fence with this.
What if I regret it later and I can't get her back?
You don't want her back.
I might.
Okay, so you're just like leading this girl on that you don't want to be with anymore because what if you break up with her and you want to get her back? Like, dude, could you be more selfish?
Just do it!
Meanwhile, Dany confides in her girlfriend that she feels like she's putting too much on Christian, that she's always coming to him with her family stuff, to which I argue that's kind of how a healthy relationship, you should be able to come to your partner with things that you're deeply worried about, and they should provide you some comfort. Now, I understand that the situation, it may have been an ongoing thing with her sister consistently doing this, but God, if Christian can't be a supportive partner, like piss or get off the pot, Jesus. So Dany's scared that she's pushing him away during all of this, and we kind of get the first sense of her anxious attachment style, which I just have to say, been there, girlfriend. Dany's worst fears are realized when Terry actually does go through with it and
fatality
takes herself out as well as her parents, leaving Dany with absolutely zero family. And can you imagine being Christian in this situation? Can you imagine misjudging a situation so terribly, being like, it's not a big deal, it's probably nothing, and then your girlfriend's entire family is gone, and you made such light of it?
Obvious ploy for attention.
I would be sick forever. I would be sick forever. And Christian just seems kind of over it. I hope that this is not typical, but I also understand that there are people in the world like Christian. People are complex. And when you're young, you don't know how to get out of relationships. It's a tough thing to maneuver, but to me, Christian represents complete apathy and stagnation. He refuses to move in any direction, despite what he thinks he wants. And we see this later on, too. Like, he has no idea what he's going to write his PhD thesis on. He hasn't moved in any direction on that either, and more to come on that about why he sucks. But he just is indifference and apathy personified. So Dany is left with no family and a pretty uncaring boyfriend at a time when she really needs comfort and care the most. Unfortunately, in this kind of relationship dynamic that they have, she just clings to him with everything she has because He is all she has at this point. While Dany is grieving the loss of her fucking family, her entire family, Christian tries to sneak off to a party.
I was just gonna go to that party for 45 minutes.
But she catches him and says, it's okay, I'll come along. Girl. So she tags along, learning in the process that Christian has made plans to go to a Swedish Midsommar festival with one of his anthropological studies friends, Pelle, who is originally from Sweden, and they're gonna go visit his Hargan family while they do their Midsommar festival shindig. Josh really wants to go because he's doing his thesis on Midsommar traditions in Europe. So, fantastic. I think Mark and Christian just want to go because it's like party in Sweden. Like, woo, boys trip. In the entire process of the planning of this trip, Christian somehow forgot to mention to Dany that he is going. Like, apparently he's mentioned to her a couple times that, like, oh, I'd like to go to Sweden, but he'd never told her that he has a ticket, because he has a ticket.
But I didn't know you were going.
I just decided today. I wasn't keeping it from you.
You already have a ticket.
And he's supposed to leave in 2 weeks. And Dany is in the middle of the absolute nightmare of a lifetime. But he doesn't care about that. And that's fine if he doesn't. But, like, break up with this poor girl. You're just gonna leave. And I also want to mention that And I also want to mention that he's planning, like, this trip is supposed to take place, the first day of this trip is on her birthday, which I know he forgot. He absolutely forgot. But that just is another layer of the shitty pie, the shitty pube pie that Dany is about to consume, that Christian's serving up to her. He can eat the shitty pube pie. It's bullshit. And he hems and haws and gives some bullshit about, like, well, I thought I told you. Well, it seems like you're attacking me for wanting to go to Sweden. Shut the fuck up. But like I said, he already has a ticket, so it's really not up for discussion. And he ends up feeling so, I wouldn't say guilty about this, but pressured to appease Dany in some way because she keeps nagging him about her dead family, that he invites her on the trip. So he has to tell his boys, hey, by the way, I had to invite Dany. She's not coming, okay? There's no way she's coming. But I did invite her, and it was y'all's idea. But of course she comes, because what the fuck else did you think she was going to do? She's attached to you at the hip because she's a fucking mess. There's this codependent, anxious attachment style of relationship that is just, man, you see it all the time. I've been in so many relationships like that. When I was younger, as I've gotten older, I've learned from my mistakes, but like, the type of relationship that they have is so common. It is so common, and especially where the woman is the anxious one and the male is more detached. He's very cowardly in this scene, and I hate him. But I also understand him, and that sucks. Like, Ari Aster has written some really dynamic, good characters, and as much as I hate Christian for the things that he does in this movie, he feels like a real person, and I can still relate to him in a lot of ways. But for me, it doesn't excuse his behavior. And in this story specifically, Dany is our main character. She's the character that we root for, which puts Christian in kind of the antagonist role. He's a young guy in a terrible relationship, feeling like he's trapped. I've felt like that. Is it hot? Is it hot in here? So he's trapped in a relationship he already wants to be done with, but he can't because now what? Like, he's just gonna be the bad guy to Dany? Yeah, that's the kind thing to do right now.
Do it!
So everybody is annoyed that Dany is going on this trip because it's supposed to be a big boy party for them. But Pelle, the Swedish guy who's inviting them, seems to be very keen on Dany going, and he seems to offer her, I don't know, just like a level of kindness that nobody else seems to be offering at all. Even if you don't like your friend's girlfriend, if this shit happened to her, you'd probably be a kind person to her, right? And not just completely indifferent of her presence. I would hope so. So the impulsive decision to invite Dany leads them into this journey of madness. And it's madness. Once they arrive in Sweden, they are greeted by some of the members of the Harga outside of the compound. And they are offered immediately mushroom-spiked tea, which sounds sweet. If your entire family didn't just die in a horrible murder-suicide.
Fatality.
You shouldn't be tripping if that has just happened to you. Just some advice. Don't take hallucinogens if you've just experienced a horrific tragedy. That's all. Just don't do it. The boys are obviously eager to take it, but Dany wants to hang back and kind of get her bearings. She just got off a long flight, and also her family's dead. And then of course Mark gets upset because he's like, we can't trip at different times, blah, blah, blah. Why not? Why can't you? It's not that serious, dude. Have a little compassion, okay? So Dany, of course, takes the mushroom tea when she's not ready to, and inevitably someone ends up saying the word family, and it sends her into a bad trip where she sees her sister in the reflection of this mirror and just ends up running and freaking out and passing out in the woods somewhere. She is awoken several hours later by the annoyed boys. And it is now time to go to the official Hargan cult compound where they will be greeted by all of the members of the Hargans. And they can proceed with this wonderful midsummer festival. Isn't it gonna be great? Yeah, it's gonna be so good. Right? Once they arrive, they're greeted warmly by the cult members, especially Dany. While there, they meet some other outsiders who were invited by a different member of the, I'm just gonna call it a cult. It's a cult, okay? While there, they are greeted by some other members of the cult who have brought some outsiders of their own in Connie and Simon. And we get this interaction, which it always makes me laugh.
I was dating Connie when Simon and me first became pals.
Well, we'd been on a date. And I didn't even actually know it was a date, so...
You're right. No, I meant that Connie and me had just become friends. We decided to be friends.
That this guy thinks that he was dating her, and she's like, it was one date, and like, no, we weren't dating. And he was like, oh, yes, you're right, because every woman has encountered a man like this. Right, ladies? They always think they're dating us. We're not dating. We went on one date. Okay, slow your roll. The following day, the gang is getting ready to witness their first real part of the festivities, an edestupa. So about this edestupa, okay, Josh, who's been doing a lot of research on all of this for his, PhD thesis smart guy paper, he claims he knows what's gonna happen the next day. And if that's true, you're an asshole, dude.
Do you know what it is? Dude.
Is it scary?
Okay, you could have warned everybody a little more, because guess what happens at this edestupa? These two old cunts go up to the top of a cliff, and the lady cunt jumps down, hits this rock. She just jumps off the cliff, and she's toast. Okay. And then the guy does it, but he fails pretty miserably. He had one job to do, and it was die. And he didn't do a great job at that. So a bunch of the other Hargan members got to get a big hammer, and they gotta bash his brains in. For nature. Great job, Josh, you dickhead. You could have told us we were gonna witness a horrific murder. I mean, not a murder, because I guess they did it themselves, but you could have told somebody. Fucking Josh. This whole group of friends, asshole dickheads. It makes sense why they're friends now. There's not a good one among the bunch. Maybe Pele, but Jesus Christ. He's got his own problems. So anyway, the edestupa happens, and the old cunts throw themselves off the cliff. Let's take a look at everybody's reaction, shall we? What the hell is going on? They fell from up there. Now, any normal person would probably be like, hey, let's get the fuck out of here, yeah? I guess some of them feel that way, but the Harga do a pretty good job of convincing the outsiders that this is actually beautiful, and it was a real treat for these old cunts.
You need to understand it as a great joy for them. Joy? Yes.
I mean, we wouldn't want to be rude, would we? It's their culture. These are their beliefs. Who are we to judge them? What? While Dany is reeling in the aftermath of what she just saw, Christian takes this as an opportunity to just be a really great friend and let Josh know that he is now going to undermine all of the work that he's done in preparation for this, and he's now going to do his thesis on the same thing. He asks at first, but then when Josh pushes back on that, he says, well, I'm not asking, I'm telling. You, Christian. Sneaky little weasel. Christian has absolutely no passions of his own. That's what we were talking about earlier. He has to steal it from his friend because he has nothing. He is stagnant water. Josh obviously becomes pretty irate about this, and it leads to a lot of tension between the two. I mean, understandably so. I'd be pretty pissed if my friend did that to me too. Dany tries to find comfort in Christian after witnessing this edestupa, and he's of no help because now his mind is just on his thesis that he's stealing. I can't say it enough. I just really want people to realize how much Christian sucks. It's a lot. But he sucks in like a real life kind of way. Like he's not like a villain. He's not like Jaws. I can't think of another villain. Hans Gruber or something, you know? He's like a real person. But in the course of this movie, which is almost like, Ari Aster described it like a fairy tale. A dark and twisted fairy tale, sure. But if Dany is the center of this fairy tale, he is the heel to that. He is the bad guy. Which is funny, because you'd think the cult would be the bad guy, and they are, and we'll get to that, but just give me a minute. We'll get there. While Dany is packing to get the out of there, Pele comes in and offers her something that she has yet to receive from anybody else, which is comfort. And he tells her that he's so sorry for the loss of her family, which kind of shakes her up a little bit. But then he says that he also has experienced the loss of his family in a fire, and that he doesn't feel the same suffering that Dany does because he's had this family. The Harga, they see themselves as this family. They share emotions. You can see it all throughout the movie when one of them is in pain or suffering. The rest of them gather around to share the load of that. Sharing loads, sorry. But they help carry each other's pain and emotions. They carry it together. And that's exactly what Dany has been wanting and reaching for, but never being able to grasp with Christian. He then poses a question to Dany that I believe kind of becomes the heart and soul of why Dany makes the decision she does at the end. And it really stuck out to me.
Dany, do you feel held by him? Does he feel like home to you?
And I think this is important because clearly, no, she doesn't. She's constantly trying to get her footing and have somebody to help her share the weight of what she's going through. And she doesn't. She's doing it completely alone. And what a lonely, scary feeling to have. And then to get this glimpse into this other way of life that feels like, wow, there is something out there that is different than what I have, that could suit my needs better, that could help me feel heard and held. And I don't think that it's not something that, it's not like a spiritual awakening that hits her quick and fast. It's like the seeds are planted in this moment that then begin to flower into an awakening of Dany, I think. And I think that that's also mirrored by when she does become the May Queen. We see it starts off with just this amount of flowers, and as that awakening happens within her, it grows. Dany wants to leave, but Christian is now in full steal the thesis mode, and he's hearing her concerns, but he's like, he's not hearing Dany at all. Meanwhile, a Harga girl named Maya has selected Christian, or the cult itself has selected Christian, to become a mating partner for this young girl who has recently been approved for breeding. Because guess what? The cult doesn't get that many new outside people, so they need people from outside to come in and seed the women, so to speak, so that they can keep making Hargans that aren't oracles like this guy, Reuben.
What the fuck?
This is another thing about the cult that I find just fun. They selectively commit incest on purpose to create inbred oracles whose minds are unburdened by thought, so that they can just write and color texts all day and then they can interpret them. It's a cool idea, huh? So anyway, this girl Maya sets her side on Christian. We see earlier in the movie this tapestry that shows a love spell, and she is going, oh, here she is right here. That's her. She's going to complete this love spell on Christian, which involves putting flowers under his bed, period blood in his drink, and pubes in his pie. Yum. That's what I do when I'm in love with somebody and want them to impregnate me. Connie and Simon are also trying to GTFO. It's kind of weird because Connie is informed by the Hargans that Simon has already left for the train station and that they're going to come back and get her later. If I was Dany, I would have linked up with Connie at that moment. And been like, hey, let's do something about this. My boyfriend is not listening to anything I say. At this point in the movie, we're slowly starting to lose the characters that are not Hargans. Like, one by one, they're just kind of disappearing. Mark gets led away into a field by one of the Hargan ladies, and we don't see him again. Later that night, because Josh and Christian are doing this back and forth about who's going to have the best thesis, Josh decides he's going to sneak into one of the Hargan temples and take photos of their sacred text, which is expressly forbidden. And in the process of doing that, one of the Hargans murders him while wearing the face and skin of Mark. Yes, you heard that right. They're wearing his skin. Now we have just Dany and Christian left, and it is time for the Maypole dance competition. Dance off. As Christian is separating off to try to learn more about the Hargans in a half-assed attempt at this thesis nonsense, Dany is welcomed by the Hargan women, and she starts to participate in some of their customs with them. Before the dance competition takes place, they all consume a hallucinogenic tea. I think it's a mushroom tea, just like they had before. But anyway, they're off their tits and they're gonna dance. During the process of this, Dany seems to be having fun for the first time. It's kind of one of the first times that we see her smile and actually enjoying herself. I just want to point out here in the costuming, before, Dany and Christian and the outsiders themselves are always in kind of dark colors compared to the Hargans, who are always wearing white and bright colors. And at this point, Dany is now completely immersed with the Hargans, and Christian is the one that is only standing out. It is part of that slow process of them absorbing her into their way of life. As she dances with them, she feels heard and understood, even though they're speaking a different language from her. I don't necessarily think that she is speaking Swedish in this moment. I think it's part of the hallucination, but it almost doesn't matter because to Dany, she feels the connection. She feels heard despite this difference in language, which is a really big deal. Ultimately, Dany wins the dance competition. She is crowned the May Queen. Now, whether there's some debate about whether or not the Hargans let her win or not, I don't think so. I can see how maybe people would think that. There is kind of this debate that's left kind of hanging in the air where it's like, how much did the Hargans manipulate the situation to get this desired outcome? And while I think there was some manipulation by them, and Pele as well, as we see in the tapestry, he's observing and kind of playing this Pied Piper role. He's taking notes and kind of leading them to their destruction. I do believe that Dany won on her own. How would the Hargans plan this out? Like, what was to stop Dany from just falling over immediately and losing? I don't think that this is something that they could plan. But on the same note, while this May Queen dance-off is happening, Christian is being led into a ceremony of his own where he gets to mate with Maya, while all of these old stand around and mimic her passion and moans and things. Now, he is off his tits too, I just want to say that. But he did have a conversation with one of the Hargan elders earlier that she was asking him about how he feels about Maya and kind of suggesting that this would happen. And Christian doesn't say no. He just expresses concern about Dany being there. And to which she says Dany won't know. Because at this point, they were always going to distract her with this maypole dance-off thing. It did help that she won. So that's working for the Hargans. Ultimately, I do think that Christian made the choice. He did. When this chick comes up to him and she gives him this virility tea or whatever it is, he says it's going to open him to the influence. And ultimately, he does decide to go through with it. I believe that he knows what this is leading to, and he's making the choice to do it. Dany is crowned. She sees images of her parents and her sister in the crowd that is greeting her. And I believe that this is just kind of remnants of her guilt as she's getting more ingrained with this Hargan family. There are these mental shadows of emotional guilt that's kind of seeping into it. Now that Dany is May Queen, she is crowned. Pele also kisses her, which I just want to point out that she doesn't pull away from it. And if you notice, the flowers on her garments are almost like beating really fast, as if it's her heartbeat. I do think this is another instance where Pele wanted her to come because he saw the potential for her to acclimate to Hargan culture and for her to be an outside person that can come in and provide them with children, and probably him. And I think every instance that we see of him trying to kind of get on Dany's good side, drawing her this picture, remembering her birthday when Christian didn't even remember it, I think we're seeing signs of him kind of trying to court her and bring her around to his way of thinking. But anyway, she doesn't turn him away. After she does all of her blessings, she kind of notices that Christian is missing, and she's noticed this weird kind of back and forth eyes thing with Christian and Maya, and she knows in her gut what's happening. Like, she can feel it. And she hones in on the place where he's having the weirdest sex with this chick with all these old ladies standing around moaning with them. And one of the Hargan women says, you know, I wouldn't go over there if I were you. And you see it right here in this face that she makes. It's just heartbreak. It's just absolute heartbreak. Florence Pugh is amazing. So she goes over and she's looking through the peephole, and she sees Christian and Maya together, and it causes her to just completely shut down. She throws up. The Hargan women see this and they run after her, and this is one of the most intense scenes in the movie where she's freaking out, and they are there with her and they're helping her to carry the weight of her emotion. And this is the thing that Dany has been craving the entire time and she hasn't been able to have. And I think this is a big moment for her because she feels held. Once Christian is completed his little ritual, he runs out of the building. He runs out. He then sees Simon suspended from a, how do I say this? He's suspended from something, and he's been blood eagled, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a form of vivisection that makes you look like an eagle, and your lungs and your torso and stuff have been kind of removed from your body. I'll try to put some diagrams here, but I'm sure YouTube won't like it. He is then dusted with this paralytic powder. And I just want to point out here that you can see Pele observing this through the crack in this barn, and that is so creepy to me, but really cool small detail that I didn't notice until like my 8th rewatch. The next scene we get is Christian having his eyes opened for him, and he is told he cannot move, he cannot speak, which is terrifying. They are moving forward with their big sacrificial ceremony, which is basically that 4 new bloods are being sacrificed, which is going to be Connie, Simon, Mark, and Josh, and 4 Hargans because they believe in this balance of nature. So the 4 Hargans that are going to be sacrificed are like Ulf, the other guy who brought Connie and Simon, the 2 old who threw themselves off the cliff earlier, and 1 other person to be selected by the May Queen, and that can be from the New Bloods or it can be from the Hargans. Now this is where we get the decision that Dany ultimately chooses Christian to be sacrificed. And a lot of people want to talk about she did it because he cheated on her, how it's revenge for that. And I just don't see it that way. I just don't see it that way. The way I choose to look at it, yes, I am choosing to look at it this way, is that Dany represents for me a woman who has been in this codependent relationship with somebody that doesn't fulfill her, that doesn't meet her needs. She is desperate to have connection and to feel held by somebody or something, anything. The ultimate betrayal, yes, it was a betrayal by Christian, and yes, you can say whatever you want to say about how he was manipulated into that as well, but ultimately I believe that he made that decision. To me, her choosing Christian almost signifies the severance of a relationship that no longer serves you and that you feel alone in favor of something that fulfills you and makes you feel not alone and held, ultimately. Yes, it is by a cult, a manipulative, evil cult, but Dany can't see that. What choice did Dany really have? I don't believe that the cult was ever going to let her go. Ari Aster himself said that it's almost like a symbolic burning of your ex's things. It's like a final purge of them from your life in favor of something that frees you. Because that's ultimately what it is. It's a freedom. We don't hear Dany say Christian's name, but we do know that it's him because they are hollowing out a bear to put him in. It's at this point that we see Dany in her full May Queen getup, which involves the flowers that go all the way over her body. And I believe that this represents a flowering of consciousness for her, that she's finally free of that. And yes, we're in a horror movie and he has to die in a horrific way, and a lot of people take it very literally, where it's like, she burned her boyfriend because he cheated on her, and that's not right. And it's like, okay, can we look at it like a little less literally? As he's being burned in this beautiful yellow building, we see her wailing and moaning, and I believe a full mental breakdown about this. She has nothing left. This is a full disintegration of her entire life. And she looks around her and she sees the Hargans wailing and mourning with her. And in that moment, she feels held. And that's where the smile comes from. It is her fully losing her mind, but also feeling the thing that she's been dying to feel this entire time. And now that Christian is gone, she feels it. It is the symbolic freedom for this woman. Ari Aster himself said that this movie was written off of a breakup for him, and I can definitely see that. If you've ever been somebody that's been in a relationship that is like this, or that you don't feel fulfills you, there is this kind of cathartic, crazy exhale.